RAF has called time on these planes, commissioned 30. Over the skies of Leicestershire, the plane bids a fond farewell to those who'd come to see it touch down at its final resting place at Bruntingthorpe.
It's a shame, really. It's the end of an era for the old lady, but hopefully she can be preserved in a taxable state and will give thousands of people pleasure in the future. It's a nostalgic day. It's a sad day, but in some respects it's a happy day in that most of the stablemates to this particular aircraft actually have a much worse destiny.
The Victor was originally designed as a nuclear bomber, but then saw service refuelling jets during the Gulf and Falklands Wars. For those who flew it, fond memories.
Well, it's very sad. We've been delivering the aircraft, obviously the squadron's folded, so we've been delivering a few now. So this is about the fourth one we've delivered. It's the second one I've delivered. It's very sad when you taxi in for the last time and shut it down. But it's done its work.
Those who came to witness the last flight were also given a flying display by this Canberra. Officially still in service, its duties are now only second line, and many are being sold. As Frances Gill recorded the memorable day, she promised to look after the plane.
Magnificent.
What are you going to do with it?
Keep her flying for as long as is humanly possible. That's all I can say.
You spent your redundancy money, was it worth it?
It certainly was, every penny.
This Victor is only one of 3 that will stay intact. The remainder will be used by the RAF for firefighting practice. At Bruntingthorpe, the Victor joins the distinguished ranks of the Vulcan and Lightning Interceptor. Its place, like theirs, assured in aviation history.
And chockies are all traditional tokens to ensure the love of your life will be floating on air.
Yes, but buyers attending an auction organised by the RAF in Bedfordshire today were going one step further to achieve that floating feeling. That's because the lots included a fighter jet and a hover where the sky really was the limit.
It started life with Austrian Airlines in 1964, but after a brief spell of Alpine aviation, it fell into the adoring hands of our own RAF. And for nearly 30 years, this Vickers Viscount has been a flying laboratory. Now, for the cost of a 2-bedroomed house, it could be yours, complete with aging upholstery and NATO standard issue sick bags, as well as priceless logs, maps and memorabilia. The Viscount, along with another ex-Ghana Airways model, is up for sale at auction, and it's anybody's lot. Bidders will twitch and fumble for these, as well as a Buccaneer with RAF Tornado nose, used to test radar equipment for the jets on active service in Operation Desert Storm. In fact, this aircraft, complete with free delivery flight, is an absolute collector's piece, but you could beat off the overseas enthusiasts with a bid of, say, £12,000. In all, Phillips are selling 19 aircraft, and they concede they could end up anywhere. What if a wealthy wife wants to buy one of these for her playboy husband?
Well, no, it's cheaper than probably a BMW, but more expensive to run.
There's no chance for those 2 Vickers Viscounts that in 5 years' time you could be sitting on your plane to Benidorm and that could be taking you there?
I think it's done. Those days are over, John. He's done all that. I think it's going to have a nice, quieter life at a lower level.
Now, browsing through this brochure will be an undoubted thrill for aircraft devotees, but one lot that I'm besotted with is in fact lot number 1. Believe it or not, they're auctioning off a hovercraft. Now, how's that for a stocking filler?
It's a 12-seater, which is being used by the Ministry of Defence for Thames Estuary range spotting. But there again, that will be much more expensive to run than a motor car, because you need a skipper's licence. But there again, it's tremendous appeal and demand from private buyers.
It could mean an end to punting on the cam, couldn't it?
It could indeed, yes.
The fallen gnat will probably be familiar to thousands of people who saw the celebrated Red Arrows between 1965 and 1979. To do your own loop-the-loop in 1993 will cost about £25,000. Or, much cheaper, at £8,000, there's the de Havilland Vampire, a selection of Andovers for £40,000, or jet provosts galore. These planes have all come onto the market partly as a result of technological improvement, but also as a consequence of the government's options for change.
And of course, with options for change and also new planes coming on the register like Tornadoes, all these old aircraft have come to their limited useful lives. So they will find new lives and appointments in the civilian register. The Ministry of Defence obviously are very careful what they offer the public, and they choose planes that have what I call a civilian appeal and demand.
You know, television news is a fast and frantic business, and I've just looked at my watch and it's getting rather late in the day, so I think I'm going to have to fly back to the studios myself. It wasn't a problem for Tom Cruise in Top Gun, so hopefully with clear skies over Newport Paggers, we could be back in Milton Keynes in about 18 seconds. What they didn't tell me was that the jet's ejector seat was still active, so I could just as easily have been propelled back to the office. Anyway, 19 formidable presents in waiting are at auction in London next Thursday at noon. They're all smothered in history, all in perfect flying order, and they'll be flown to wherever your heart desires. But wrapping paper costs extra.
Johnny Ray reporting there, chaps.
Early on that the predicted prices would be blown sky high. Some bids were made by phone, and when the first lot of military hovercraft fetched 3 times the expected price, the stampede was on. But we had to wait until near the end before this Viscount and a similar one fetched a total of £285,000, knocked down to a Norwich man representing an American company. So why did he want them?
Basically for the engines. The company I represent, they lease aero engines, they break aero engines for parts, they partially overhaul engines, so we wish the aero engines for spares.
So the aircraft will never fly again then?
No, unfortunately not, no.
This Buccaneer with a tornado nose was the last one built for the RAF and was used in trials to test radar equipment deployed by British forces in the Gulf War. It was knocked down to an anonymous telephone bidder for £16,500. But few were more elated than one aerobatic pilot who snapped up this one-time Red Arrow's fallen Gnat for a cool £48,000.
Oh, it's absolutely worth it. I mean, this plane goes just under 600 miles an hour. It's fully aerobatic. It's £48,000 of pure and absolute self-indulgent exhilaration. It's brilliant.
A Canberra, which flew out of Thurley with the Viscounts, was sold for £17,000, and the man who's flown all 3 over Bedfordshire said he was sad to see them go.
It's always happened. It's always sad to see an aeroplane broken up, but you break up old cars, so it's no different in many ways.
What made you come here to see it all happen?
Sentimentality, I suppose.
The sale raised £647,000, twice as much as the auctioneers expected. Some of these planes will be stripped down for parts, but others will soon be back in the air, bringing pleasure to flying enthusiasts for whom the recession is apparently just a blip in the sky.
And because of the success of that auction, the auctioneers say the Ministry of Defence is expected to make more surplus military hardware available for sale soon.